G'day and welcome back to the channel, Ginger Ninja's Movie Reviews. I'm the Ginger Ninja and these are my Trashy Tuesday movie reviews. If you're new to my channel, thank you very much for tuning in, stopping by and checking out. And you're probably wondering, what am I doing looking at these trashy films? Well, trashy doesn't mean bad. When I say trashy, I mean it has a certain quality about it that sets it apart from other films. These are usually low budget, they are usually very cheesy, very quirky, very odd. They are not your common, everyday, run-of-the-mill, see it in a cinema films. These are completely balls-to-the-wall, batshit crazy movies. And it doesn't get much crazier than Troma. I recently went through the Toxic Avenger series, and that got me really thinking about Troma itself and what movies Troma have put out. And I remember seeing a lot of these films back, renting them out on video, and I really wanted to get back into them. So here we are today. We are looking at Class of Nuke High, Part 2, Subhumanoid Meltdown from 1991. Now, before we get into the nitty gritty, I do want to say a big thank you to all of my new and existing subscribers. It truly means the world to me that you guys come back week in, week out and support me in this. It's a lot of fun for me, and I'm hoping it is for you, so cheers. Anyway, the film was directed by Eric Luzel. The film stars brickbronsky, lisagaye, leesarowland, michaelkurtz, scottresnick, and many, many more. Now, the plot is second note to the spectacle that is going on. It is there just to service a bunch of scenes. And I'll touch on what I mean by that in a minute. But anyway, when school reporter Roger Smith meets beautiful subhumanoid Victoria, they fall in love, but he becomes determined to save her and the new school from a giant mutant squirrel named Tromie. Now, there is a little bit more in depth to that, but there's a plot about these subhumanoids melting down, hence the term subhumanoid meltdown. And obviously that's why he wants to save her, but IMDb plots are very basic. But really, what can I say about this movie? It's a Troma film, and it's not to be taken seriously. You need to approach these with the right mindset. It's just big, goofy fun. And that's all it is. Like I said, this is a bit of a piss take, and it's, how do I describe this? What it's doing, it's kind of meta before meta was really a big thing. It's referencing its own movies in its own universe. The main character, Roger, his dorm room has posters of Class of Nuke High Part 1, Troma's War. I'm pretty sure there was a Sergeant Kabuki Man poster on there as well. So, there's even a guest star or guest appearance from the Toxic Avenger himself. Yeah. But look, that is what Troma is, and that is what Troma does best. So this movie is again set in Tromaville, which is a town that is perpetually plagued by nuclear mishaps and mutant mayhem. And it's just very strange to see all this going on, but I really dug it. Now, the school itself is called the Tromaville Institute of Technology. Put those three together, and what do you get? You guessed it. And look, that's pretty much what this film is. A lot of half-naked women running around at the Tromaville Institute of Technology. Yeah, let that sink in for a bit. But look, not that I'm complaining at all. It's a fun movie as well. So apart from all the scantily clad women, the movie itself is just a lot of fun. So let's get into it and let's have a look at the cast. Okay, so the cast, and look, the performances in this film are larger than life and twice as ridiculous. Unsurprisingly, the acting isn't that great, and there is not a lot of chemistry between the characters, and it does make the interactions feel forced and somewhat unconvincing, but it's completely over the top and cheesy fun to watch. Brickbronsky's Roger Smith is a hero straight out of a comic book. He is very earnest and perpetually bewildered by what's going on. The supporting cast are a troupe of characters that are as memorable as they are completely outrageous. Now, overall, the characters are just there for jokes and gags, really, rather than individuals with any depth or development. But it's kind of par for the course when it comes to these films. Okay, so moving on to the directing and writing, and one of the film's greatest issues is also one of its greatest strengths, and that is its unrelenting commitment to its own brand of humour. The humour is crude, the satire is blunt, and the subtlety is completely thrown out the window. This is a film that knows exactly what it is, and it revels in its own outrageousness. It's packed with slapstick humour, gags, terrible puns, and visual jokes that just hit you from every angle. Now, I mentioned this when I discussed the plot, and the plot itself is secondary to the spectacle before our eyes. It's an explosion of, garish colours, ludicrous costumes, and practical effects that range from delightfully campy to downright ridiculous. And you can see a little bit, not so much on this screen, but the colours that stand out are those bright neon ones. Yeah, they look great, like they do. They're just that, they've got that real 80s, even though it's filmed in 91, they've got that early 90s, late 80s kind of neon feel, and what can I say, it's nostalgic, I guess. But one of the other issues with the film is the erratic pacing, and again, this comes down to the writing, the lack of focus. Both do play into the chaotic film style, but they also hinder it from elevating it to a higher level of entertainment. The direction, like I mentioned, it does lack focus and often strays onto tangents, and they don't contribute meaningfully to the overall story or any character development. And now onto the effects. And what would a troma film be without some special effects? Visually, this film is a kaleidoscope of cheap yet charming special effects. The practical effects, especially the meltdowns, are hilariously grotesque. And the Subhumanoid's prosthetics are wonderfully campy. The mouths on the stomachs of these Subhumanoids, they're cheesy and they look glued on, but when you see them close up and you see the teeth and the tongue wiggling, it's kind of very cool. The after effects of the meltdowns with the floating heads are cheap, cheesy, but glorious. There is one point, and I probably should have mentioned this in the directing and it could have been with the editing, but at one point after a meltdown of the janitor, they head back to Roger Smith's apartment or his dorm room. As they're entering, you see a stage hand, like the actual hand of a stage hand, pushing the floating head into the screen, like into view.
Move your ass, Roger. Move your ass, Roger.
But it's this low budget aesthetic that just adds to the film's charm and its offbeat manner. At times it did feel a little forced, as if it's trying too hard to be a cult classic, rather than naturally achieving that status. But it's still, like, those effects were just fun. And let's Tromie, the giant mutant squirrel, like, his transformation is very different. Like, if you look back at the Toxic Avenger, that's probably the best example I can give. Toxic Avenger's transformation was quick and sudden, whereas this one is done slowly over the course of a span of maybe 5 minutes on different screens and different scenes. But it's done. But it's done so well, and the after effects of this giant squirrel urinating on a smokestack of a nuclear plant. Hilarious, like just hilarious. Now, rewatchability. Look, when it comes to rewatchability, this one, maybe not. It's a fun movie, but I can't see myself rewatching this due to the really bad acting. The OG films, like the original film, it's not great. It does have a bit more appeal as it stands out amongst the slime horror subgenre. This one doesn't have enough of the slime horror to really make me want to go back and rewatch it. Still a fun movie, a lot of boobs, but not enough to make me go back and rewatch it. So, final thoughts. This movie is likely to appeal to only a niche audience that appreciates B-movies and campy horror comedies. For me, there is not enough horror in this to be a horror comedy. It is more a, almost not even a comedy, but look, it doesn't actually fit into a specific genre, really. Like, it's so absurd. That's probably absurd comedy. Is that a genre? Like, maybe that's it. Slime absurd comedy. Okay, new genre. There it is. But look, for general audiences, this is going to be a tough watch. There's not enough to draw people into it. Just the general audience isn't going to appreciate the work that's put into these films. But that being said, the movie might still provide a lot of entertainment value if approached in the right mindset. I mentioned that at the start. If you look at this film in the right mindset, it is a good movie to watch. If you can appreciate the absurdity and you don't take the film too seriously, that's all you need to do. And look, if you don't mind half-naked, scantily clad people running around, you're in for a treat. Overall, for a score, I would give this film 6 out of 10. And there you have it. That is my review of Class of Nuke High Part 2, Subhumanoid Meltdown. Have you seen this film? Let me know what you thought of it if you have, down in the comments below. I love hearing your guys' thoughts on these films because, my take is my take. I want to know what you guys think of it as well. So please do let me know down below. If not, are you going to go find this film and check it out? I think it's definitely worth, having a look at it at least once. Like I said, there is a lot to take out from this film. It's cheesy, it's campy, it's ludicrous, absurd. But let me know what you think of it down below. If you haven't already, please do hit that like button, be much appreciated. Of course, subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. You've made it this far, you might as well. But also hit that notification bell so that way you're notified every time I do release a new video. Currently, we've got my Trashy Tuesdays, but we also have Franchise Fridays. This week we are wrapping up the Wrong Turn series, and there'll be a new franchise starting out the next week. I've also got my 60-second reviews, which I'm doing a few more. I'm going to be popping a few more of them out because I'm watching too many movies. It's crazy. Anyway, before I let you go, I do want to say this is the last week of my reign as horror YouTuber of the month. So if you haven't already, check out my video announcing the 5 nominees for next month's horror YouTuber. There are 5 great channels on there. Check them out. Subscribe to them as well because these are fantastic people that know their stuff. Definitely recommend you check them all out. But make sure you, in the comments of that video, let me know who you want to vote for and who you want as the next horror YouTuber of the month. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the